league's most versatile players as well. Not quite as versatile as Carlos Augustos, who's on the ball now for Inter Milan. He's played centre-back, wing-back and midfield this season, has the 27-year-old. And on the ball on the right-hand side again, just hugging this near-side touchline is Henry. Works it back in towards his own half, towards Barella, who sits inside that midfield five, but is just doing a little bit of defensive work as well, just to pick up the ball back towards Kanji inside his own half. Lays it out towards Bisek. Kanji is, all in parts, the pivot in this Inter Milan team. Everything works from him at the back for the former Man City man. He certainly brings that Pep Guardiola experience of playing out of the back and has provided some reassurance to Inter Milan. 15 clean sheets they've kept this season as well. Conceded 21, just one more than AC, but they have scored 21 more goals than their nearest rivals. One league title separates these two sides as well. Inter Milan want to go two ahead at the end of this season. They've got an opportunity to get the ball into the box from the right-hand side. It's with Zielinski. 15 yards outside the AC box, but he has to come back into Kanji, and now he's sent forward down the right-hand side. Slight overlap comes in, and it's left by Barella in towards Bisek. Pulls it back in towards Henry. Good interchange play down the right-hand channel. There's four Inter players there just trying to drag the AC defence wide and open up the space on the left-hand side, and now that's where they're going to go with Zielinski. Moves it across into the path of Kanji, but his pass over towards DiMarco over on that left-hand side. He's been excellent since January 12. Goal contributions since the start of 2026, 14 assists he's got this season. As a long ball goes forward, looking for the young man body. But he just can't quite outstretch and bring it down. Two changes made up front for Inter Milan for this game. Marcus Thuram not able to be in the squad this afternoon. Lautaro Martinez, who's been out with injury as well, the top scorer with 14 to his name, can only make the bench for this one. So Ange Boni, who played in the last game, 5 league goals to his name this season, is joined up top by Esposito, who himself is a young talent that is coming through this Inter side. 10 minutes then played in what has been an edgy affair in the opening 10 minutes. Neither side really willing to risk too much in the opening stages of the game. Benfica, though, have pulled it level against Porto. They were 2-0 down there against the league leaders. Porto were trying to assert a 10-point gap over Jose Mourinho's side, but that will be brought back down to 7 with that goal. There is still time for another goal to take place in that game, and we'll creep up to 9 o'clock as well. I'll keep you up to date with how Valencia and Deportivo Alaves get on in La Liga as well. As the ball just given away on this near left-hand side, AC have an opportunity to attack with Pulisic, who just stole it nicely. He's got space with Rabiot on the left-hand side, tries to cross it first time, but just slipped as he went through the ball under very little pressure from Bisek on this near side, but his cross just goes all the way into the stands behind the goal. And it must be an odd feeling for some of those Inter Milan fans. They've certainly had plenty of experience of it in watching their nearest rivals sitting in their seats. If you're a season ticket holder or Inter Milan and you're up in the gods here in the stand with that standard allocation for away teams that the away sides are given between these two games, between these two sides, it would be odd to see someone else sitting in your seat. To be fair, I'm a Rotherham fan, and nobody in that club sits in their own seats anyway. At the moment, with the ground half empty, it's the third bottom in League One of the English League. Mengham with the ball just on the edge of his own box, just trying to work it forward towards the right-hand side. Tomori, who's been rather quiet in the opening exchanges, just tries to creep into the Inter Milan half, but he's snuffed out nicely by DiMarco, and he's got to move it across towards the left-hand side and switch it in towards Pavlovic. Brings it back towards Modric, who's just playing that creative role at the moment, 10 yards inside his own half, just looking for an option to go forward. There's a few runs that were made, one from Pulisic, another as well from Fofana, but he opts instead to go towards the right-hand side towards Sally Makers, who tried to find the pass in towards Fofana, but it's about 10 yards to his right-hand side and will skip nicely in towards Jan Sommer in the goal, a 37-year-old Swiss goalkeeper. Not too long. He'll still be in, not too many years, he'll still be in the goal for Inter Milan at the other end. Mangum coming into his prime as a goalkeeper, 30 years of age, the Frenchman. He's a solid keeper. He won the Ligue Goalkeeper of the Year before joining AC Milan. He has been outstanding. But every time I do see him in the goal, it does remind me of a Birmingham fan who thought that it would be a wise decision for the Championship side to sign Mangum for their goalkeeping duties. Rather ambitious, if they do say so themselves, especially when they're a mid-table side in the second division of English football, and Mangum is one of the best keepers in the world at present. It's on this near right-hand side for Inter Milan, just inside their own half. Lovely little passing between Henrik and Bonny. It's sent down the right-hand side. There is space if it can be picked up by Barella, but he's just beaten to it really nicely by his opposite number, Tomori, who just did ever so well to get himself across. He didn't know too much about the ball that went over the top there. Barella, I think he was waiting for an offside flag, but he was kept onside by De Winter, who was just sat way too close to the edge of his own box. And then Tomori read it well and snuffed out any danger. The long shot comes in from the left-hand side by Di Marco, but it's blocked and pushed towards the right, and the free kick will go AC Milan's way on the edge of their own penalty area, just to the right-hand side. In Serie A, across the weekend, this is the last game on the weekend itself. Lazio and Sassuolo will face off tomorrow. Napoli kicked us off on Friday night with their 2-1 win against Torino. Como continue their incredible season under Cesc Fabregas. They won away at Cagliari by 2-1. Atalanta concede as well. 2-2 they drew against Lazio in the week in the Cup semi-final. 2-2 they've drawn against Udinese as well yesterday afternoon. Juve continued good form against Pisa, who look all but down this season. 4-0 they won there. Lecce and Cremonese, relegation battle between those two sides, and it was Lecce who came off the better 2-1 win in that game. Fiorentina as well, just trying to get themselves away from the bottom three, or at least creep out, drawing 0-0 with Parma, and Hellas Verona's also in that dogfight at the bottom. Need to start picking up wins, and they got at least one yesterday against Bologna, winning by 2-1 on the road this afternoon. And Genoa in the game just before this beat Roma by 2-1, thanks to the penalty by Messias and another by Vitor Olivier right at the end of the game on the either side of an Evan Undika. Leveller for the away side. So plenty of fixtures to come for these two sides, as well as Inter have the ball just on the edge of their own box and trying to move it towards the right-hand side with Bishek. AC have Lazio on the road next and Torino at home before travelling away to Napoli, and Inter Milan have Atalanta at home before they go to Fiorentina away. As a cross comes from the left-hand side, looks like it might have just come off the top shoulder as a calls for handball from a couple of Inter Milan players, including Arturo Martinez on the bench, but it's going to be waved away by the referee, and looked a little bit innocuous from the call. Tomori is down inside his own area. He's going to need a little bit of treatment, just coming together with Mkhitaryan, and the referee will just hold play for a moment. A few AC Milan players will use that as an opportunity to go and warm up on the near side, as Tomori doesn't look too comfortable on the ground at the moment. Hopefully he is able to continue. Dogu can fill in at the back and replace him should he need to. And he's one of those players that is warming up on this near side. But in a Milan derby that tends to have flair and firepower and twists and turns between these two sides, has yet to have a twist in the tail at the start of today. But there is still plenty of time for this game to hit full swing. 17 minutes in, they both are exceptional defences at the back, which is why it becomes such a difficult game for both sides. Inter Milan, we've mentioned, have got that makeshift attack that they're not used to. For AC Milan, well, they are used to these two up front over the years this season. Before November, December time, Leao and Pulisic rarely played together. In fact, just once before that period, Bastoni just goes into Rafael Leao, but he was actually fouled by his own player there as he's come through. And the referee gives the free kick AC Milan's way, and it's a rather harsh free kick against Inter Milan. Leao was kicked in the chest, in fact, by Rabiot. And then a slight touch in the back came from Zielinski, but the referee didn't quite have the best of angles. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt for the experienced referee there, Daniel Duveri, the 48-year-old. There's so much experience on the pitch, whether it's the officials, whether it's the players. Plenty. And featured in this fixture many, many times before. None more so than Nicolo Barella in the midfield. It's his 15th Milan derby for the 29-year-old Italian. And he's on the ball in the middle of the park. Lays it into Esposito, who's just taken out just inside his own half by Tomori, who gets a little bit of revenge as well. And in the early exchange between Valencia and Deportivo Alaves, it's the away side who strike first, leading by a goal to nil. On the road as he's back inside the Inter half with the away side. Moving it across to the left-hand side in towards Bastoni. Tries to switch it from left to right, looking for Barella, but it's given away, and it's a chance for Leao to get forward. His first touch was that of a brick wall, and it just escapes him. Pulisic trying to win it back in the middle off of Zielinski, but Zielinski does really well and had a little bit of support as well from his midfield partner there in Mkhitaryan, and works it back nicely in towards Akanji. Sends it forward quickly in towards the middle. It's still 2-2 between Benfica and Porto, 10 minutes into stoppage time between that game. With what appears to be quite a fiery game over in Portugal. NEC are beating Volendam 2-0 over in the Netherlands as well, and St Mirren lead against Partick Thistle by a goal to nil. And Pescara Calcio with 27 minutes in Serie B are leading against Bari by 4 goals to nil, and they will walk away with the 3 points there. The side sitting bottom of the table, playing the side sitting just above them to give themselves a little bit of comfort as they try and find their way out of that bottom 5 and those relegation places. 3 go down in the second division, 2 go into the relegation playoffs. There's just 5 points that separate the bottom 6 in Serie B, thanks to that excellent win from Pescara Calcio. Just their 5th win of the season. They don't tend to score too many goals. The free kick goes into Milan's way, 20 yards inside the Milan half, just to the right-hand side, level with the edge of the penalty area. There's 2 standing in the wall. There's 2 standing over the ball as well. DeMarco, the assist king, is one of them. Zielinski is the other. The 31-year-old Polish international. He scored 4 goals himself against AC Milan, more than he scored against any other club. He'll want to burden them from this free kick. He's laid short towards the left-hand side towards DeMarco, who just opens up the angle, tries to go for goal from 35, 40 yards out, and it goes high, wide, and not very handsome into the AC Milan fans behind the goal, away to the right-hand side, and it was a rather interestingly worked free kick from the away side, rather than putting the ball into the box, which feels really like the type of thing that Inter Milan should be doing against AC Milan. They have plenty of dead ball woes to the home side. Statistically, Milan has a glass chin, if you will, at set pieces this year. 50% of their 20 goals have come from set pieces and from dead ball situations. And it's a direct clash with Inter Milan's biggest strength. But sometimes those types of stats does make it a little bit more complicated for sides. They can overthink the possibilities. And really, you just want to keep doing what you have been doing, getting the ball in towards the box, pumping it in. As it's sent down the left-hand side, looking for the run over Rabiot, but he just can't quite stretch his legs and get hold of the ball. The man who won 5 Ligue 1 titles with PSG, 30-year-old Frenchman. Just couldn't quite outstretch. He's chasing down to win the ball really well inside the Inter Milan half, and AC Milan tried to work it forward with Pulisic. His pass though just a little bit short and straight into the path of Bisek, who just put his foot through it with no real intention of where that was going to go, but it's picked up by Modric. Moves it inside the Inter Milan half towards this near left-hand side, in towards Rabiot. Brings it back in towards the centre towards Pulisic, who just wants to get himself on the ball a little bit more. He had really the possession in the opening 10 minutes or so, but over the last 12 minutes he has just quietened down, just trying to get himself a bit warmer, continue into the game. It's given away almost to him in the middle of the park as well. There's Sally Makers as well, running from right to left to try and close down the Inter Milan players, which is exactly what the AC Milan fans will want to do. But it is the away side who break free, with Henrik moving in towards the middle to Mkhitaryan. Shifts it towards the left-hand side, back in towards Zielinski, who sits on the left-hand side of that midfield 3 and plays without discrimination more than anything. He's a versatile player. Will move himself across the pitch at will and at fancy. He's shuffled himself towards this near right-hand side as well, as Bisek just tried to flick it round the corner. Gratefully gets the ball back, sends it towards the edge of the area, but just bullied off the ball was Bonny. And in an excellent turn, back into danger by Pavlovic to then just get it away towards the near side, in towards Leao. Now's an opportunity for AC Milan to try and break from inside their own area. Pulisic is crowded out though by 3. Has to bring it back in towards Leao in the attack. It's still not over, but it hasn't got the same impetus as it had moments ago. We're halfway inside the first half here. It's still 0-0 between these two sides in this Milan derby. If AC Milan were to win tonight, it would be their first Serie A league double over Inter Milan since the 2010-2011 season, which was also under Massimiliano Allegri. The derby that officially first took place in 1909. The very first unofficial meeting, though, actually took place in Locarno in Switzerland back in October of 1908. It was a 50-minute match, 2 halves of 25, which Milan won by a goal to 0. The team reportedly travelled to the match on the same train and shared their pre-match meals as well. Over the years, I think that likely would have disappeared, though in the modern-day football you do tend to see teams quite happy to be a little bit more cordial. There isn't that impetus and sort of scrap effect, if you will, that we had particularly within the 90s, 2000s, coming into the 2010s. Over the last 6-7 years, we have seen football has become a little less feistier. Those derby games still have something in them. It's not the same when you used to get the matchups where you take back some of the old matchups that these two sides used to have. You see it in the Premier League as well, some of the classics that used to take place between Man United and Arsenal when they were both going for titles, when Man City weren't that great and the whole country rooted for them against Man United. Now people just root for Man United to lose so that bloke doesn't get his hair cut. Although we have seen it in Scotland today, which was, commentators would normally say, it's not what you want to see, but it's absolutely what you want to see. You want to see passion from fans. And that's certainly what we saw in Scotland between the Rangers and Celtic fans after that game. Riots on the pitch. I'm sure there will be outside the grounds as well. Well, both sides have been trying to get larger allocations across Scottish games this season. But I don't think that will do them too many favours at all. They'll certainly be keeping the Scottish police busy over the next few days. 26 minutes on the clock here. It's on this near right hand side for Bisek. Inter Milan just trying to get themselves into the game a little bit more, just control the game as they've controlled this entire season. They've slowly just moved themselves into a comfortable lead at the top of Serie. They sit with 68 points at the moment. AC Milan 10 points behind them. Napoli still hope that they have an opportunity. They'll be rooting for AC Milan as well. They're sitting 12 points behind Inter Milan as it stands as well. And AC, they've lost just 2 games this season. Inter Milan have lost double that amount, but it's the draws that have cost the home side points this season. 10 draws in their 28 games, including this one so far. As a long throw comes from the left-hand side for Inter Milan, just trying to put a bit of pressure this time on the AC Milan box. Use them against the dead ball. They played out for a corner kick. It was a good header by De Winter just to get back on a little bit of pressure from Esposito, the big man up front for Inter Milan, who will try and cause trouble from the set pieces, and he's going to try and cause a little bit more trouble here. He's getting in the way of the goalkeeper, as is Bastoni, which will just bring the referee Duveri over to have a slight word with the players. Wasn't too much in it from the players there, but the referee just stopping anything before it builds up. I say let them play. The referee, if the goalkeeper Megan, who just gives a shove against Esposito as it comes towards the left-hand side, and it's almost into Esposito there, who just moved away from the goalkeeper, tried to strike it on the volley, but it was just flicked away towards his right-hand side. Cross comes back in towards the area, but the safe hands from Megan just to pluck it out of the sky and stop the attack from Inter Milan and try and start their own over on the right-hand side. As a free kick goes AC Milan's way for an offside on Esposito, and they'll try and work their way up the pitch on that far side. It's not got the tail of the likely going to be the record most goals in a derby game. That stands at 11. Back in 1949, Inter Milan won 6-5 in a match that's still cited by historians as the greatest display of chaos in Serie A history. And these two sides certainly share plenty of history here at the San Siro, also known as the Stadio Giuseppe Meazza, named after the legend who played for both clubs, in fact, and he is Inter Milan's all-time derby scorer with 12 goals. He did score against Inter Milan for AC later on in his career as well. Pavlovic with the ball 10 yards inside the Milan half, just holds it up and brings it back towards the halfway line. Under a little bit of pressure though at the back is Modric, who almost slips. Rabiot, who almost slips and gives the ball away to Boni, but Boni just couldn't get behind the experienced Frenchman. He knows it. He makes a mistake, how to recover. And he needed to do so there, and he did so really quickly. He looked lost for a moment. Seconds later, had the ball back, just worked himself between man and ball. It's over on the far right-hand side, though, with AC Milan, with Modric just moving himself across the pitch. The 40-year-old still going strong at the highest of levels. See the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo playing over in Saudi Arabia against half-empty stadiums these days, trying to achieve his 1,000 goals in football. I'm not too sure. Well, he'll get the record. Whilst he'll hit 1,000 goals, not too sure how much it really matters. I think 150 plus, maybe more than that, come over in Saudi Arabia against some rather poor sides. They do have some good sides in there. Al Ittihad when Benzema is playing, but he's not at the moment because he wants a little bit more. Al Hilal as well, Al Ahly top of the league this season, or at the moment as well, before that on the cert. And Ronaldo play as well, but Modric still playing at the top of the game in Italy, which is what we love to see. As a free kick goes AC Milan's way, as Rabiot just kicked on the halfway line. And just holds that right ankle as he goes down to the ground. And they'll just slow the game down into their favour. AC Milan, they'll want this game to be played and dictated by themselves, not by the current league leaders. Allegri looks on. He's won the title on 6 occasions, 5 with Juve, The other one with AC Milan back in the 2010-2011 season. And we're just going to have a brief stoppage in play as Rabiot is still feeling a little bit worse for wearing the halfway line, and he just went down to his knees for a moment. The referee just coming over rightly just to make sure that he is okay. And he is going to continue, and Modric will get us back underway, which is great to see. In Scotland, St Mirren on the stroke of half-time lead 2-0 against Partick Thistle in the quarter-final. Alaves still lead against Valencia by a 1-0. Lyon on Paris FC also 0-0. It finished 2-2 between Benfica and Porto over in Portugal. And what has been an excellent Sunday of football, particularly here in Italy and across plenty of wonderful leagues in Europe as well, as he's just cleared out by Sommer, who hasn't had too much to do over the last 20 minutes or so since he made that early mistake and almost cost his side a goal in the opening moments. Over in France, Lens beat Metz by 3-0 to close the gap to PSG to a point at the top of the table. It almost looked, the recent performances from Lens, like they may just have let it slip to PSG, but they are still in it, beating the bottom side by 3-0. And over in England, it's no Premier League action this weekend. It's been FA Cup action, to which bottom of the third tier beat Premier League Sunderland at home by 1-0. Championship Southampton beat Fulham by 1-0, and Leeds beat Championship Norwich by 3-0. An expected result there for the West Yorkshire based side. And there come Inter Milan, opportunity to try and work it forward. Space towards the right hand side. They're going to go down the middle instead, and it's a great stand up from Mengen. He could have flapped at it, he could have tried to go down, but he stayed ever so strong. He's then given away in the back again by AC Milan, and there's Mengen to get down really well to his left hand side. Mkhitaryan just opened up on the left hand side. The angle was tight, and as he turned and struck it, it was poor from AC, just passed it straight in to Mkhitaryan, who was 10 yards or so ahead of his man. But it was just given away in the middle. It was Mkhitaryan who was racing forward in towards the area. 3, 4, 5 AC Milan players all just watched him, gave him a guard of honour as he raced in towards the area. But there was excellent keeping from Mike Mengen in the goal. He didn't make any early decisions. He stood it up really well against Mkhitaryan and denied the 37-year-old Armenian a goal to his name. Cleared it back out towards the right-hand side. It was immediately given back in as he tried to play it back towards Mengen. Mkhitaryan picked it back up, and now there's a chance on his near left-hand side for Estupinan! And the red half of Milan strikes first at the San Siro. The Rossoneri take the lead. First blood goes to the red and black, and it's Estupinan who fires into the roof of the net 10 minutes before half-time. It was well worked from the right-hand side, open sesame at the back of the Inter Milan defence. Estupinan slipped through beautifully behind the back line, took one touch and then fired it left-footed into the roof of the net. The man that came in for this game, the only change that Allegri's made, and it's the perfect change for this game, and it's AC who strike first. It's AC Milan 1, Inter Milan 0, and from one end where Inter Milan probably should have taken a lead through Mkhitaryan, straight up the other, punished by Estupinan. Bišek, Henrik and Barella all tried to get across, but it was a beautiful ball in from Rafael Leao, who just slips Estupinan in. We saw him score plenty of goals in the Premier League for Brighton. He scored a handful for AC Milan as well. And the former Brighton man, the 28-year-old Ecuadorian, gets the salute of his players and the praise of his of the AC fans. And 10 minutes before the stroke of half-time, the game has livened up from one end to the other. It's AC who lead. We're back underway. There was quite a lot of celebrating, and it is the AC Milan fans now who are bouncing. And the noise here at the San Siro is absolutely deafening. It's chaos, it's noise, it's pure football theatre inside this famous ground that won't have too many more famous nights. But it's AC Milan wanting to make history themselves. They're eyeing up a 7th derby win. Seventh derby game without defeat. The last time Inter won was mid-2024. They won't close down the record that Inter Milan hold, though, in the all-time 17 matches they went unbeaten against their biggest rivals between the 1929 and 1937. But AC Milan won't really care about records from almost 100 years ago. They'll certainly be enjoying this game so far. They're going to win a free kick as well, 5 yards off the edge of the Inter penalty area. It was Saelemaekers who ran across the edge of the box. Barella just took him out and it's taken quickly, worked in towards the area, but it's poor really from Estupiñán. He had too much confidence. There's still an AC Milan player down inside. Saelemaekers is still down 5 yards off the edge of the area. It was a perfect opportunity to shoot from the angle as well. I'm not sure why they took it quickly there, AC Milan. They probably sensed an opportunity to try and get behind the back line of Inter Milan, but you're going to have to be a little bit quicker and cleverer to fool this Inter side this season in particular. They should have just slowed the game down. They're leading by a goal to nil. It was the follow-through that really affected Saelemaekers more than anything. He was fouled from behind, just had his legs clipped, and then on the follow-through, Barella's knee just goes into the cheek of Saelemaekers, which he felt it a little bit more, and I'm sure he would have appreciated if the game had stopped for a moment or two. The ball has been played out over on the far side as Saelemaekers goes and has a word with the referee, and the referee just explains that it was his side that got on with the game, not the referee himself. If he wants to be upset with anyone, he does have quite a red cheek, does Saelemaekers, whether that's from him rubbing it 1,500 times whilst he was on the ground, or whether that was actually from the contact itself. Probably 50-50 would be my guess. It's on this near left-hand side. Pulisic just gets there nicely ahead of Bishek, trying to run at him down the left-hand side. Drifts in towards the left, pulls it back towards the byline, and it's almost tucked home in the centre of the goal. It was really well worked by Pulisic down the left-hand side. He showed Bishek the right. He shifted to his left, drove towards the byline, and just tried to pull it back in towards Rabiot, who was coming into the box. But the midfielder just couldn't get his foot around it under plenty of pressure from Di Marco, and just didn't quite make the contact that he would have wanted. And he goes out for a goal kick, cleared towards the right-hand side. On the ball now is Bonny. Does really well to keep hold of the ball and plays it into the path of Henrik. Continues it down the right-hand side. Shouts for offside from the back line from AC Milan, but it's going to continue with Mkhitaryan. Pulls it back in towards Henrik. Floats it across the box, but there's just nobody there at the far post to try and tuck it home. And Mike Mengham is the closest man there to race off his line and just put it into the Inter Milan half. 5 minutes to go then before the end of the first half. It's the home side who lead by a goal to nil, and it's the home fans who are making all the noise here at the San Siro. And here come Inter Milan again with the Akanji trying to put it in towards the box, and now there is a huge appeal for a potential penalty waved away by the referee. It will be checked by the VAR. Rosario Arbizo, he'll have some work to do, but for now the game is going to continue with Leao back in towards his own half, and AC Milan are just going to try and keep hold of the ball. Well, the decision is going to be made. It also just slows things down a little bit. The players still asking the referee. It was quite close in terms of where the ball was struck from over on that left-hand side. It's down the right-hand side for Saelemaekers. Back into the game now and on his feet once again. Driving at the heart of the Inter Milan defence. Pulled back, and it was just tried to be directed goalwards by Pulisic, but just got too much onto it after the strike came in from Tomori. Didn't have too much power on it from the Englishman. Great work again from Saelemaekers. Just laid it back in towards Tomori, right on the edge of the box, and Pulisic just got himself in the way of it, just trying to help it on. Rabiot has his potential handball waved away by VAR as well, as it did come off his knee and then on. It just flicked off his arm just an ever so slightly, but it wouldn't have changed the direction of the ball or changed the game at all. Whether that has any implication, I'm not too sure at all when it comes to the rules, but there it is the case. An excellent run around the right-hand side for AC. Out comes Sommer, goes to the ground. It's still held up on the right-hand side really nicely by Fofana, but he just couldn't quite do enough with it. Excellent work there from Jan Sommer in the goal. Fed through at the back again. This time from Modric in towards Fofana down the right-hand side. Out came Sommer, went down to the ground. It just looked like Fofana was going to pull it back onto his left and try and chip it in towards Leao at the far post. But in doing so, he just couldn't get the right contact on it, and it allowed the away defence to clear the ball. And the Eredivisie, NEC, winning by 3-0 against Volendam with 20 minutes to go in that game. St Mirren Partick Thistles 2-0 at half-time in La Liga 2. It's Granada leading away at Deportivo La Coruña, the former Champions League side, by a goal to nil. Pescara Calcio still leading 4-0 in Serie B. Olympiacos POK with 20 minutes to go is 0-0 as well there. Valencia still losing at home, and Lyon Paris FC also coming up to half-time, still 0-0. As AC Milan again floated towards the far right-hand side towards Fofana, just takes a flick on the way through, goes out for a corner kick, and the side who have been vulnerable from set pieces this season are trying to make their biggest rivals vulnerable as well. They've controlled this game as well as they could have done, AC Milan, against a side that very rarely lose. They don't tend to do too much before the 80th minute, AC Milan. But on this occasion, they've struck beautifully inside the first half. They only conceded just one goal after the 80th minute as well, AC Milan, so they sense getting into the final 10 minutes, but they've still got to get to half-time at the moment. We're leading by a goal to nil. 2 minutes to go. They've got a corner themselves, coming from the far side with Modric standing over it. It's 7 inside the boxes, floated towards the winter over the far side, just tried to help it on its way. Pavlovic was lurking, but it just went over the top of his head. It was a nice header back in. Modric with the ball in towards the winter, who just helped it back across. Was trying to help anybody else get a contact on it, but there was Sommer just to pluck it out of the sky. Pavlovic was the nearest Milan player to the ball. It's Inter who are just passing it on the edge of their own area. 90 seconds plus any stoppage time to go at the end of this first half. There won't be too much stoppage time that will be added on in Portugal. We'll keep it date with the game between Santa Clara and Vitória de Guimarães, who kick off at 9:30 local time here, and also 9:30 over in Portugal as well. We've got 60 seconds to go before half-time, and it is AC Milan winning in the derby. Years of history between these two sides. It's the 246th meeting of the Derby della Madonnina, and it's AC Milan who have struck first in this game. Coming up to half-time, cleared out towards the halfway line, and Inter Milan just trying to find something right at the end of this half, and what a time it would be for them to try and add something. A notch on the bedpost. Over to our right-hand side as we look, but it's back with Bishek. Moves it in towards the middle to Kanji. Inter Milan just trying to move themselves forward inch by inch in towards the AC half. Now they try and go for the killer pass behind the back line, looking for the run of DiMarco, but it's just too heavy from Bastoni, and Mike Megan will take his time to take the goal kick. And they have to change a few of the dugouts here every time these two sides play. The home dugout, the away dugout always gets changed into the AC Milan colours for this one. 2 minutes have been added on at the end of the first half. The AC fans making an absolute racket of a noise. For a side that's won their last 8 league games, into Milan, top of the table by 10 points before the start of today. They are playing more like the side that played against Bodo Glimt. Milan's been ruthless in the league. It's over on the right-hand side. Can AC Milan find a killer blow right at the end of the half? But it's over the top of the bar and into the fans behind the goal. It was Fofana again, who's been really lively in this first half. He just picked up the ball on the right-hand side, given away once again. It was Leao that fed him in, cleared back out towards him by Kanji, and his first-time attempt on his left peg. Skied it over the top of the bar, and the Italian rugby team, who beat England for the first time in their history, would have been proud of that one. A 3-pointer, if ever I did say so. And as an Englishman, it was still incredible to watch that Italian side, the emotions in the stand. Fans were crying. It was remarkable to see as Inter Milan get a corner kick right at the end of this first half. Barella's going to come across to take it. He's going to leave it, in fact, for DiMarco. As we've got 10 seconds or so left of stoppage time at the end of the first half, so it's going to be last chance saloon inside the opening 45 minutes for the Black and Blues. DiMarco's just going to have to wait another moment or so as Bastoni and Mengham link up once again with a little bit of pushing and shoving. Leao tries to get in between both of them just to try and take Bastoni away from his goalkeeper. 6 inside the area for Inter Milan. They should really be getting as many into the box as possible at this stage of the half. But it's going to come in from DiMarco in towards the near post. It's headed out nicely towards the far side, but Pulisic just can't get hold of the ball. Picked up over on the right-hand side by Mkhitaryan. Laid back across in towards Barella. Lights off a shot, but it's just dragged wide of the left-hand post of Mike Mengham's goal from the captain. And it was well worked from the corner. It was played in. It was headed out nicely towards the far side. Pulisic, it looked like, was going to get there first. Sally Makers next, but they lost out to it towards Mkhitaryan, laid it back in towards Barella, and Barella's shot just flashes wide the left-hand post of Mengham's goal, and that will be half-time between these two big rivals here in Milan. The 246th back underway excuse me, in the second half between these two incredible Milan sides. It's the home side, the red side of Milan, who are the happiest so far. No changes made by either side in the first half. So therefore, Mengham is in goal for AC. Tamori, De Winter and Pavlovic make up the back three. The midfield five for Salimakers and Estupinan on either side to also help support retreating back and doing the defensive on those wing back roles with Fofana, Modric and Rabiot in the middle. The front two are Pulisic and Rafael Leao for Inter Milan, who are on the ball over on the right hand side, trying to attack early. It's skipped nicely in towards Barella. Opportunity down the right hand side to find Bišek. Can't quite get it past the strong defence there of Pavlovic, who works it away, but it's given away poorly though by Estupinan, who just tried to get his foot through it and didn't have too much conviction in it. And it goes in towards the Inter Milan team with Bišek, Akanji and Bastoni, the back three in front of Sommer in the goal. The five of Henrik, Barella, Mkhitaryan, Zielinski and DiMarco sit behind the two of Boni and Esposito up front for the away side, who've conceded their first goal in four, I should say, Serie A games, as they went the last three without conceding, looking to continue that wonderful run that they've been having in the league. The last time they lost in the league was to this AC Milan side, who themselves are also trying to avoid back-to-back home defeats as well. Slightly struggled at home compared to their away form with AC. They haven't lost back-to-back home games since 2023. AC Milan. So far, so good for them. Plenty of players on the bench as well for either side to bring on for Milan. They've got 9 to choose from: Athakame, Bartsagi, Fulcrum, Jashari, Nkunku, Odogu, Ricci, Terracciano and Torriani. It's Inter Milan on the right hand side trying to get it across the goal, but it's just palmed away for a corner kick by Mengham on the tight angle. Getting down that right hand side was Barella once again. Just got in behind the back, fed it in towards Zielinski, who just either couldn't tell if he tried to pull it back in towards the space or get it on target. Mengham wasn't too sure either. It came at him with a bit of power, and he just got his left hand onto it just to push it out for a corner kick. The start of the second half has been all Inter Milan trying to apply the pressure. Now they've got a corner kick with DiMarco standing over it. Sends it in towards the near post, but cleared back out in towards Barella with a little bit of space. Brings it in towards DiMarco again over on the far right hand side. His cross this time is a really poor one and is cleared out comfortably by Salimakers. Skips it in towards Rafael Leao, who just dances past one, races across towards the left hand side and continues it around DiMarco, who stands him up ever so well. It was Federico DiMarco. He's the first defender since Andrea Pirlo in his later deep lying roles, provide 5+ assists from both open play and set piece in a single season. I'm not too sure we could call Pirlo a defender. Now, whoever gave me that stat, I will be having questions with them. He's playing a deep line defensive midfielder role, but I don't think he ever actually sat in the defence himself. Pulisic is going to try and strive forward as players racing forward. One is Leao on the left hand side, tries to strike, it goes for goal, but just drags it wide. A real opportunity for AC there on the counter attack to race down the middle. The two main men up front linking together nicely. Pulisic just shifting it towards the left hand side. Across came Akanji just to do enough to put off Leao, who was trying to go for him. Provider to goal scorer on that occasion. The hearts were in mouths in the Inter Milan side, as vulnerable in the first half on the counter, and now they're trying to attack again with Barella. Over towards the right hand side to Henrik. Strides in towards the box on the right hand side, but he's crowded out by Modric and by Estupinan. So there's no room forward for Inter Milan. 5 minutes gone in the second half. 1-0 AC still lead in this game. Cross comes in from the right hand side, but again, confident in his box is the goalkeeper. So just take that out of the sky and to bring it down. But it's been a good start to the second half, at least, for Inter Milan, just trying to control the game. as best they can, turn the tide, shift the momentum into their favour, and they are setting the early tempo at the start of this second half. But AC Milan will know exactly what this interside can do. They'll have done their homework at Lester Allegri. He's a very experienced manager, particularly in the Italian league. And he will know as best any about this interside, as it's with Leao, with Fofana, just comes towards the edge of the area, goes for goal, and it's a good effort, just smothered by Sommer, though matched really well by the goalkeeper. Fofana just allowed the freedom to drive towards the edge of the area, and then he strike with his left, just to the right-hand side of Sommer, who got down really well to keep hold of the ball on the second attempt. But an excellent opportunity across Europe. Valencia still losing at half-time to Deportivo Alaves by 1-0. Santa Clara in Portugal, 23 minutes into that game, lead by 2-0 against Vitória de Guimarães. Santa Clara have been struggling for form this season. It's that second, third bottom coming into this game in the relegation places, just looking to move themselves out against the mid-table opposition, leading by 2-0 there. St Mirren have had one pulled back by Partick Thistle. 2-1 there in the Scottish game as well. In La Liga 2, Deportivo La Coruña losing at half-time to Granada by 1-0. And Lyon Paris FC is 12 minutes into the second half. And it's 0-0 in that game. Two sides in Paris playing in the same top flight league over in France. As it's Inter Milan with the ball once again with Bastoni. Tries to float in towards the far side. It almost bypassed absolutely everybody, but really good work from Estupiñán just to stand it up and to bring it away towards Rabiot on this right-hand side, who just dances nicely past Boni and then tries to send the ball forward, but it'll go out for a throw-in halfway inside the Inter half. But they'll get hold of it really quickly with Cristian Chivu's men, the 45-year-old Romanian former Inter player. He's managed this Inter side through from the under-14s all the way up to the top job, and they sit top of the pile as well in Serie A. But as it stands, it is AC Milan who are closing the gap to 7 points. That still gives them some hope that maybe the title isn't gone just yet. It keeps it going, at least for another week. 10 games to play in the league after today. Both sides focusing predominantly on the league. AC Milan will knocked out of the cup to Lazio back in December. The same month they also lost the Super Cup to Napoli as well. So they have entire focus on the league. For Inter Milan, well, they will come back for the second leg against Como in the Coppa Italia after that 0-0 draw in the semi-final first leg. And that'll take place at the end of April, around about the 22nd of April. May still change as both semi-finals are still subject to playing the same days. It's played in from the right-hand side, played in towards the area for DeMarco, and he's missed an absolute gilt-edged chance from the perfect opportunity. A wonderful ball from the right-hand side, given away at the back. It was lost to Barella, who was just swarming all over the back of Estupiñán, and the goal scorer almost gave it away. It was floated beautifully towards this near left-hand side, laid on a plate by Esposito, down in towards DiMarco, and the man who's in the best form of any player normally provides the assists. He's got 6, in fact, in his last 5 games. He's top for assists, he's top for shots on target as well, and second in the amount of shots taken in the last 5 games in Serie A. And you couldn't have asked for it to fall to anybody better on that trusty left boot, and he just puts it over the top of the bar, and a very grateful Mengham couldn't have done anything except for watch that go over from 12 yards out. But really well won on that right hand side, and it's Inter who is showing all the intent at the start of this second half. It's to Marco again on this left-hand side. Sorry, I had a bit of food at the break. It just sort of sits there and just gives you a little bit of a cough for the time being. We won't let it affect the commentary, shall we? As Bastoni brings it back nicely in towards Zielinski. Dictating play at the moment as the ball just goes in towards the box, but it's a poor one, and it's easy for Mangum just to come out and claim it on the penalty spot. And AC Milan come into this one. We mentioned in the first half their game against Cremonese, in which they won 2-0 last time out off the back of their only defeat in the last 12 against Parma. It looked at that point like it had gone into Inter Milan, or had gone completely into Milan's favour for the season. And then in the 90th minute against Cremonese, he was still 0-0 as well. The smiles were on the blue side's faces, but since then 6 points have been wiped out on the table. We're down to a gap of 7 as it currently stands, but a goal for Inter Milan to level the game would certainly, it does certainly change. It does certainly change that, and would put it back up to 10 if they can score, but they have to get past this sturdy AC Milan defence. It's over on the right hand side. Bišek tucked it in nicely towards Henrik. Has to come back though in towards Bišek, who's under a bit of pressure from the American Pulisic. First American to win the Champions League was Christian Pulisic. Get ready for America to make about 3,000 comments about him in the summer at the World Cup. As the ball goes in towards the area, Inter Milan player goes down inside the box, but the referee happy that there was nothing there against Esposito, who didn't appeal too much, to be fair to him. He went down under a brief challenge at the far side of the 6-yard box. Well, the referee getting that decision right. The 48-year-old, been a referee since 2009, was Serie A ref of the season last year. And it's given in towards Leao, goes for goal, and it's blocked really well on the right-hand side from Bišek, who stuck with the talented frontman, who was just looking to race away the 26-year-old Portuguese player, racing down the right-hand side, but Bišek stuck with him. Kanji kept with Pulisic as well to stop the pass coming back across the box. And in doing so, Leao just took his strike. I thought it took a deflection on the way through, but it just went high and wide into the stands behind the goal. And excellent defending from Bišek at the back. The 25-year-old German was German under-21 captain when he was part of that side, and his last 3 games he's come off the bench, starting today for the first time. He actually won 100% of his tackles in those 3 games where he did come off the bench, and showing his quality at the back and why the Inter defence has been so sturdy throughout the season. But tonight they have given away a goal, which is what AC Milan are valiantly trying to defend. And first to blink on the substitutes will be Inter Milan, controlling this second half but haven't found a way through on the score sheet just yet. And Mkhitaryan will make way for, I thought it was Mkhitaryan, it's Henrik who will actually make his way off for Dumfries. So there'll be a slight change as Dumfries will go like for like with Henrik on that right hand side. The 25-year-old Dutchman is absolutely rapid, the fullback, and he comes in to try and add something on that right hand side where they're having a little bit a spell of pressure at the moment. Mkhitaryan has made his way off as well for Inter Milan, and it just happened to happen at the moment. And I was just writing down the first change that had been made, so I'll do some number counting and we'll get the confirmation of who came on for Mkhitaryan, who's made his way into the dugout on this near side. And he has been replaced by Susic in the middle of the park, and it's almost given away inside the area. Driving forward is the substitute. Dumfries can't quite get his cross back in towards Esposito. He was allowed the freedom of the box, pushed it towards the left hand side, tried to do more than anything else, but a mix up at the back from AC Milan. Modric trying to get out of the way as De Winter tried to just put his foot through it, but both of them ended up missing the ball. Gave it into Dumfries, who just drove down the left hand side, and as he tried to pull it back in towards Esposito, he just couldn't quite get enough on to fall into the young striker Sučić. We mentioned the man that came on, the 22-year-old Croatian from Dinamo Zagreb. Well, AC still lead by a goal to nil. 60 minutes on the clock. We're into the final third of this game. Inter Milan coming with shot after shot. They are still, in fact, the shot kings of the league. Over 500 shots they've had. The shot difference is over 280 in their favour. They're figured better in Europe's top 5 leagues by only Barcelona in shot difference of those 4 ran against, and they come again down the left-hand side with Di Marco. Can't quite get it past the first man, but he'll fall kindly back towards him. Tries to send it on the volley again, but it's only as far as De Winter, who pushes it out towards Sally. Makes on this right-hand side, gives it away, was back towards the edge of the area, and a bit of a pop shot from Boni is blocked. And out comes Pavlovic with the ball, just sends it towards the Stupin on the left-hand side. Lovely ball down the line, opportunity for Leao to get forward, but the linesman on this near side, Giovanni Bascini, puts his flag up and denies the Portuguese striker the space that he was running into. Thought he just about kept himself onside. He was coming from his own half, just leaning into the Inter Milan half. And the benefit for the linesman there, excuse me, was that he was on the halfway line and had the benefit of the line, his own sort of VAR, if you will, that he gave himself there. In the middle with Sučić. All Inter Milan at the moment. AC Milan yet to make a change. They're content with how this game is going. Zielinski moved it in towards Bastoni. As time goes on, it certainly favours AC Milan as it whittles out of their favour. Valencia have equalised at the start of the second half against Alaves, who scored inside the opening 2 minutes in the first half, and Valencia have matched them in the second half as well. 1-1 there. Paris FC are leading against Lyon in France. Lyon sitting fourth in the table, trying to move themselves back into the top 3 in the Champions League places, but they're losing to the side promoted last year. We're trying to get themselves 10 points clear of the bottom 3 as well. I'll keep you updated with how the last 22 minutes of that game goes there. All the other scores are as you were as well, but it's Inter have the throw in halfway inside the Milan half. They're continuing to try and apply some pressure. AC Milan have struggled at times at home this season. As a long ball goes forward straight in towards Mengham, who will take it with touch with his foot and will take his time to pick it back up, with Esposito realising that racing to close down the goalkeeper, who does now get the ball back into his hands. But AC 7 wins, 4 draws, 2 defeats at home this season. It is the 7th best. Just the 19 goals that they have scored at home. But it is their defence that has allowed them to win games. But it is their strikers that have stopped them from turning draws to wins as well. Ezio Simonelli, the Serie A chairman, also here today. There's an abundance of stars out in Italy in this crowd. Plenty are watching as well, as both presidents of the clubs as well look on at what could be one of the final times here at the San Siro between these two famous sides in this incredible stadium. As a long ball goes forward, looking for Leao down the right-hand side. He's crowded out by 2 and has to go back towards the halfway line, looking for the pass in towards Fofana, but it's given away to Inter Milan. But back there was Tomori once again, who just puts his foot through it, and anywhere will do really for Inter Milan. With 25 minutes to go, they just pump it straight into the Inter half, and it's all hands through the pump, even with 25 minutes to go. But the first 20 minutes of this second half, they've done ever so well, AC Milan, to stop Inter Milan having more than one golden opportunity, which Di Marco missed. He's got that cagey, nervy affair that a game between two top sides absolutely has quality. Hasn't quite been on show as a free kick goes AC's way, as Bastoni goes into the referee's book, and he'll be the first of the afternoon to go in to the referee's book. Daniel Doveri in big games. He does tend to bring out the cards rather early to assert his authority. Hasn't needed to today, which in a derby game you've got to be disappointed that the referee isn't booking players left, right and centre. It shows it's been more of a tamer affair than the derbies of the past. And Bastoni goes down as well, just in front of the referee after he was kicked, but he's the one that's in the referee's book. But he has come off worse from his own challenge as he just holds his left calf. And Zielinski tries to get hold of the ball. He'll want to get on with his game rather quickly as well if he scores or provides an assist tonight. Piotr Zielinski, he will reach 100 career goal involvements in Serie. So far 49 goals and 50 assists, with Milan being his favourite victim. 4 times he has scored against them previously. How he'd love to draw these two sides level and to add a 5th. But both players are still down. It's just a coming together of the legs more than anything. A sporting tackle on Rabiot just to take his legs out, but both players just coming off there a little bit worse. Right on the halfway line. Inter Milan, we spoke about AC Milan's home form. But Inter Milan's away form is exceptional. 11 wins and 2 defeats in their 13 games. The best in the league. Their last defeat coming back in October on the road against Napoli. Staring their 3rd potential away defeat in the face at the moment. But they need to try and find a little bit of magic, a little bit of a spark just to get themselves through the back line of this sturdy AC Milan defence, who come into this game with 1 defeat in 12 matches. Came against Parma. As Bastoni was booked, but he's also going to have to come off as well for Augusto, as he is hobbling off and he locks in plenty of pain. Captain Barella also making his way off as well for Fratesi, who will come into that midfield to just try and add a little bit of a spark. And Fratesi, the 26-year-old Italian who joined from Lens, sorry, who actually is a super sub for Inter Milan. 4 of his 6 goals have come off the bench after the 75th minute. Now he would love, just like so many, probably like every Inter Milan player, would love to add one to the score sheet, as the referee's going to bring out another yellow card. He's opened the floodgates of cards as Dumfries goes in to the referee's book as well, just bringing down Pavlovic, has tugged his shirt on the halfway line. Pavlovic did make a meal of it, throwing himself to the ground, but it was always going to be a free kick, and it was always going to be a yellow card as well. And this is what we're wanting to see. AC Milan just starting to turn the game into their favour. They've got through 20 minutes or so of pure pressure from the away side. And now they're trying to work their way forward to potentially add another, and the referee, is he going to bring out another card here this time for Tomori? He's not. He's going to let the Englishman off there as he just gave a silly foul away just inside his own half, and I can't quite see the justification from the referee. They're not giving a yellow card to the Englishman there. Now he's on the World Cup himself, the man who was born in Canada, an under-20 World Cup winner. How he'd love to be a World Cup winner. I've said how he'd love to be quite a few times in the second half, haven't I? It's stuck in the back of the mind. But Tomori eyeing up an England spot in the summer. Can they finally do it? The answer is probably no. And it is likely their last chance to do so in the modern era. If England with Harry Kane, surely don't think he'll be peak form in 4 years' time, that he's currently in, although he is still in an excellent form. 45 goals to his name this season. Took a knock a few weeks ago, had plenty of English hearts in Mal's Italy, still wanting to qualify playoffs for them. Try and find their way into the World Cup. It's with AC Milan over on the far left-hand side, getting themselves into the Inter Milan half. Still no changes made by Massimiliano Allegri, the six-time winner, playing mind games, happy with this scoreline. AC looking for their first double over Inter since the 2010-2011 season, which Allegri was also in charge during that time. Inter Milan can't have too many excuses either. 7 changes made from the side that played against Como in the Cup in the week, of which they did rest. They drew 0-0 against Como, who've been superb this season, newly promoted side. Trying to get themselves into those European places. Cesc Fabregas getting them promoted and then continuing the wonderful form that they're in. And they've got a wonderful ground as well on Lake Como, where you sit in the commentary booth, you just look out and see the lake behind you, which was glorious in August. It wasn't that nice when it went over in January. Though as a long ball goes in towards the area, this time from the left-hand side, just floated towards the far post, but it's cleared out nicely halfway inside the AC half. It's picked up by Inter in that blue and black home shirt, back in towards Akanji. Moves it in towards Di Marco as the away side try and pick up a bit of momentum after it was just ceased temporarily by AC and the injury in the middle to Bastoni. There's again another cross try to put in by Zielinski from the left-hand side, but cleared back out again towards the near side by what has been a superb defence this afternoon by AC Milan. In Italy, the national team, in 18 days' time, they'll go against Northern Ireland, who had a semi-good qualification process for them. As AC Milan will make their first change of the afternoon. It's the man that provided the first goal who will make his way off as they take off a bit of pace in Leao and bring on the 33-year-old German beast from West Ham, Füllkrug, just to add some bulk up front. And they'll also take off Fofana as well in the midfield and replace him with Ricci as well, the 24-year-old Italian, known as the metronome from Torino, just keeps things ticking over. And there's 2 changes made by Allegri, who again just tries to slow the game down as time goes on. 16 and a half minutes to go in this game. It's still AC leading by a goal to 0, with Inter trying to knock on the door, but they just haven't had as many chances. They've been really well shut out by this wonderful defence at the back from AC Milan, which we've seen throughout the season. And Italy, we mentioned earlier, will play the semi-final in the playoff path A against Northern Ireland. The winner of that game will play either Wales or Bosnia and Herzegovina, which does mean, as an Englishman, I'm very much rooting for Italy and for Bosnia and Herzegovina. Although I don't tend to mind Northern Ireland, I quite like Northern Ireland. But we don't want too many home nations going in, because we don't want them to better England when we inevitably get knocked out in the groups in absolute disgrace once again, just like back in 2010. Made the journey that time over to Brazil to watch us get a wonderful solitary point against Costa Rica. And left now the tournament, Luis Suarez took another bite out of another player in the other bracket in the World Cup qualification for Europe. Ukraine and Sweden will meet, as will Poland, Albania, Slovakia, Kosovo in Path C, along with Turkey and Romania, and Czech Republic, Republic of Ireland, and Denmark, North Macedonia in Path D for places in the World Cup. In the summer, still not decided in March. I'm not a fan of how some of the qualification processes have been made, with some teams having to go through some countries having to go through ridiculously long qualifications in order to make it. Well, Europe and the likes of England will play 8 games and get themselves to the World Cup, and yes, you could say that's based on seeding of confederation, etc., but it shouldn't be for an Asian country to have to play 20 plus games to qualify for the World Cup in so many different phases. It's the same over in South America, with 18 games needed to be played. More than that needs to be played for those sides to qualify. They play each other twice, every country on the continent. And it'll be an interesting World Cup that comes in the summer, but for now it's also an exciting game here between these two giants of the Italian game. It's the red half that is happier so far, and they're getting into their favourite point of a game. They score more than anyone else after the 80th minute, AC Milan, and they've only conceded 1 goal after the 80th minute as well. Inter Milan will need to double that tally if they want to take anything out of this game. All the other games that we mentioned are still as you were, no change in their score lines either across Europe, as time continues to head down into AC Milan's favour. Inter Milan continue to have the ball, but not offering a lot with it. Trying to put some crosses in towards the box. They do have plenty of aerial dominance in the side. They're the only team actually in Serie A to have reached double figures for headed goals this season of 14. Their physicality at corners has been superb, but no physicality there from Esposito on Mengham after Fratesi put the cross in, and the keeper just claims that one out of the sky once more. And is it going to be a famous night for AC Milan? Inter Milan will still look at the table and know that it is very much in their favour at the moment. As it stands, they're 7 points clear. A goal makes it 10, 2 makes it 13. AC Milan desperate to keep hold of this result. Inter Milan will not want to lose to their rivals, but they know that if they do, it is still not the end of the world for them. If AC Milan fail to win, it certainly feels the end of their season as it stands. And they have the ball, just swung down the right-hand side for the home side and towards Pulisic. Just takes it nicely around Zielinski, but recovering even better is Akanji, who then plays it off to Mori, who's high up the pitch, just trying to keep the away side deep inside their own territory down this near side in the corner. And there hasn't been too much to shout about in this second half. It's Inter Milan still trying to find an equaliser. Send it with the long throw into the path of Boni, but in doing so he just kicks the back. Just kicks the back of Tomori and gives the free kick AC Milan's way. And he'll take his time to get on with it. He almost flicked forward actually by Modric, who tried to find it into the pass of Saleh, because it does some nice trickery, but he will bring it back as Diouf will be coming on for Inter Milan. Bishek, the man going off, so the defence to attack change. The man from Lens, he's a creative player, left-footed, is Diouf. He comes on to try and add some attacking intent for the away side. Stands over it, Modric on this near side. Just 4 for the home side on the edge of the area. 1 moves away. There's AC Milan very wary about the counter-attack, and here come Inter Milan to try and provide the counter-attack. It was given away, but in stepping nicely was Estupinan. Drives it forward into the pass of Rabiot. Shuffles it towards the left-hand side into Pulisic. Links up nicely with Fulkrug. Back across the goal, and it's almost seen home, but excellent defensive work from Augustus. At the back, just to step in and just to clear it away as a yellow card goes against Rabiot. in the centre of the pitch. He just comes in late on the Inter Milan man. And the referee has opened up his notebook. I think he forgot he had it for a good portion of the game as they came together in the middle. Pavlovic and Boni both and a bit of a coming together, and the free kick goes into Milan's way, and the referee brings it back for an earlier tackle from Rabiot, just leaving his foot in momentarily on Zielinski, and the free kick goes into Milan's way. 9.5 minutes to play in this game. It's Inter Milan on the charge. DiMarco had the best opportunity for Inter Milan in this second half. How much is that wasted opportunity? And it was played in towards him. It was like going on a third date with a new girlfriend. Everybody knew what was coming. Everybody knows what's coming. You wait